Hello everybody, and welcome to the final part of Breckenridge's Insider's Guide. If you haven't already, go watch parts A and B first, as they'll help this video paint a more complete picture within the setting of Breckenridge. For anybody new in Insider's Guide, I share all of the tips I've picked up with all of you, in order to help you maximize your days skiing the fine resorts of the West. In this video, we're finishing the Breckenridge Insider's Guide with Peak 7 and then Peak 6. So with that, let us finish an Insider's Guide to Ski Resorts, Breckenridge. Peak 7 can definitely be described as an intermediate skier's paradise. It can, however, also be the busiest place in Breck. The Independence Superchair gets extremely busy, not only because it is lapped by intermediate skiers, but also because it is an egress to and from Peak 8, Peak 6, and the T-Bar. Last summer, the summer of 2021, an infill lift, the Freedom Superchair, was built on Peak 7. The new high-speed quad now runs right here, from the junction near the bottom of the Zendo chair to Pioneer Crossing. Now, with this new lift, the lines at Independence have been somewhat shortened. Independence can still get incredibly busy. Freedom itself, however, doesn't tend to get too long of lines. Nowadays, the problems on Peak 7 aren't so much about the lift lines, but more so about trail crowding. Peak 7 is intermediate groomers. That's it, plain and simple. Many of the main trails, especially Angel's Rest, Pioneer, and Claim Jumper, can get quite busy. But many of these other trails, such as Lincoln Meadows and Wire Patch, are not bad. Fort Mary B and Swan City are two short cutoffs from the main run, Pioneer, that tend not to be as busy as Pioneer itself. This Peak 6 Parkway is incredibly flat. I would highly recommend taking Monte Cristo if you are attempting to access Zendo. The alpine terrain on Peak 7 is quite simple to explain. It's steep, it's open, and it's lightly trafficked. Accessed primarily from Imperial, George's Thumb, Whale's Tail, and Peak 7 Bowl are all wide open bowls with a view. When people head back towards the higher number peaks from Peak 7, they go up to Pioneer Crossing and ski Claim Jumper or Lower Forget-Me-Not. However, if it is midday or afternoon, the fastest way to head back is actually to hop on the Breck Connect gondola from the base of Peak 7 to the base of Peak 8. That way, you avoid the line for Independence and the time it takes to ride up and ski down. And finally, we come to the final peak, Peak 6. There are two ways to get to 6. The overwhelmingly more popular method is to ski Monte Cristo or Angel's Rest to the Zendo chair, and ride Zendo to the base of 6. The other, less known way is to take Wanderlust across. Wanderlust is a small trail through the trees. For those of you who mountain bike, it is pretty much a single track for skis. If you don't feel comfortable navigating that track through the trees, just turn to your right and ski down. You'll end up at Monte Cristo, which will take you to Zendo. This black run, or bucket, is a nice glade in itself. The Zendo chair almost never gets busy because it is not a lappable lift. It is long and slow and serves one run. If it is busy, that means you, along with all of your 100 new best friends in line, are trying to go to Kensho, which means that Kensho is going to be busy. If that is the case, you might consider going down to Freedom and working back across to ski Peak 8 Alpine or Peak 10 instead. Here's something to consider. When I say long, keep in mind that I've been spoiled by resorts like Big Sky and Deer Valley, who have hardly any lines anywhere. All in all, Kensho isn't that bad. When I talk about long lines at Kensho, I'm typically talking 10 minutes to a half hour. You can absolutely manage waiting in that sort of line and still get plenty of laps. Off of the Kensho Superchair, you can hike up to some more alpine terrain similar to Peak 8's alpine terrain, but less extreme. Of course, they're still extremely steep. The great thing is that Kensho drops you off so high up that most of these runs can be as short as a 10-minute hike away. It's easily possible to get double-digit laps of the Six Senses or the Serenity Bowl in one day. These main blues at the top are in the open, large powder fields similar to the back bowls at Vail, albeit smaller. Coming from these upper bowls, you'll go down a nice groomed blue through the trees, back to the bottom of Kensho. Intuition is a nice wide open powder field, but it does require a bit of hiking or skating to get back to the main runs, as indicated here on the trail map. The great thing about these blues off of Kensho is it gives lower intermediate level skiers and boarders to experience the high alpine terrain without dumping them off on a double black. Do beware that as soon as you pop out of treeline, it can get much windier and as such can feel much colder. To get back from Peak 6, you will ski down Lost Horizon to either Freedom or all the way to Independence or the Breck Connect gondola. Lost Horizon gets really busy from everyone skiing down it at the end of the day. Luckily, you only have to deal with it once. Towards the end of the day, as everyone exits Peak 6, Freedom can get a little bit backed up, so that would be the time, if any, to ski down and take Independence or the gondola. Well, that's about it for Breckenridge. Please leave any questions or suggestions down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. All my love, I'm out.